the reason for the change between 8 debuff slots and 16 debuff slots?
Purely a tech limit.
Tech limit, okay.
We always wanted more, and we were completely hamstrung a lot of times by that limit. So we were trying to always like horse trade, like we'll give us 6 buff slots so we can have 12 for the raid, or whatever it was,
Right. Yeah, I actually found a blue post from back in 2006 that Eonix was saying the same thing because people were asking about it on the forums, and he said, look, this is something that we wanted to do. We wanted to increase the debuff limit, but it was just a tech thing, and we were at 8, and then we thought 16 would be good, and then if you guys really, really wanted to, then you could have increased it even more, but you guys thought 16 was just fine where you were at, given how far you've gotten tech-wise.
No, we would have had unlimited if we wanted it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't think of a design limit, right? There's UI limitations, right, on how many you can actually display before things get crazy. And certainly in individual encounters, you don't want 100 different things going on because players just get confused or overwhelmed by it, right? But we would have never wanted it to have been a tech limit, right? It would have always been limited either by UI or design. And we had more capacity than what we were given in terms of design and UI. So, because a lot of that stuff was also under the hood. Like we hid various debuffs just to track the progress of some raid mechanics and things like that, like timers and things like that. But because we had to use a slot in some cases, right, to make it work early on, it caused problems. And so there were times when you couldn't actually attach that extra debuff, right? Because there was something hidden there that was blocking it, right? And everyone was just like, well, why does this guy have a smaller limit than everyone else, right? But eventually we got into scripting and the game became more advanced technically, and we were able to manage some of that stuff without using debuff slots. But this was sort of like our workarounds we had to use the systems we had to make the content. So.
Right. So when designing raids and balancing raids, deciding, okay, how much HP does this boss have? Are you like, okay, we have 16 debuff slots now. We can make the bosses a little bit harder because more DPS is going out from the raid. Right. Or did you intentionally like balance around the debuff slots?
It was certainly a factor, yeah.
Okay.
But ultimately, I mean, things just came down to combat time and, like how long does it take, a group of players to mathematically destroy this thing, given what we know about outputs and things like that, or how long, and is that number smaller than its berserk timer or whatever timer it has that's where it's basically just going to become unmanageable and kill the raid. So a lot of it was feel, like we had a mathematical starting point, but then a lot of it was just feel and, play it out, test it out.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
We were also trying to identify play pattern stuff of what's fun, what's not fun, what's confusing, what's not confusing. So
I was gonna say it's so interesting because so many people who've been fans of Classic for such a long time have always thought that the debuff slots are such a big, like, it was a design decision, and basically the debuff slots were designed around the bosses and the encounters, but I guess it was the other way around, where
to protect the bosses from too much damage.
Yeah, that's what everybody's thought, or so many people had thought that, but but yeah, no, it's so cool to see that it's actually the other way around.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because that is the approach of some designers. I'm sad to say, like, they create sort of an adversarial relationship with their player base. You won't kill my bosses. I'm going to make it super hard. But the content obviously is designed to be defeated, right? Like you have to put in some effort, right? You have to work at it. You have to earn it. But it's there to be defeated, right? It's there to give you that sense of accomplishment and feel like you've achieved something, right? So, game designers typically don't treat them as their personal, like they're personally losing if a raid boss is killed, right? So, yeah, I mean, an idea that basically protects the raid boss from too many dots, essentially. Yeah, it's never something that we would want to do.